y'all, how y'all doing? Don't mind my house, we live here. It'll be clean in a day or so. It's almost the weekend time. I tend to let it get messy during the week, I'll admit. But anyway, so we are going to be trying something that we haven't done before. We have a pretty big collection of cast iron. Emmanuel's been collecting various cast iron pieces since before he met me. Cast iron is really sturdy to cook with. It's something that if taken care of properly, you can pass it down from generation to generation. So that's why he's been collecting it for himself, for us, to pass down to our children and what have you. Some of his pieces he bought really rusty, but they were good. When you set them down, they don't wibble wobble or anything. And then some pieces we bought pretty decent, but because we had them all stored in the shipping container, which is not moisture controlled, sometimes the rust got worse, or the good pieces started accumulating a little rust. And we wanted to try one of the methods that we had seen in his cast iron book, and one of the cast iron books that he checked out at the library, where it talks about using Coca-Cola to eat away at the rust. You pour it on your cast iron, you let it sit for a couple hours, and then you use a metal wire brush or something to kind of help clean it. But this helps take some of the elbow grease out of it. So we're gonna give it a try. So I'm gonna have it sitting in this plastic wash tub, and I'm gonna pour some Coke in it. We only bought 1 2-liter of Coke just to experiment, and if it works really well, we'll buy some more Coke and kind of work through our whole collection of cast iron. And when I say collection of cast iron, let me show y'all a picture of it really quick. So this is Emmanuel's cast iron collection that I just showed you. It's a growing collection. We are always looking for more pieces. Some stuff it is, we have a couple pieces of the same size. It's good to have a couple sealants of the same size, but it's also good because then we can pass those down to Declan or any other children that we have in the future. So we're just going to give it a try using the Coke to kind of eat away at the rust, help take out some of that elbow grease. Get a washcloth and have it sitting on the handle with some Coke soaked in it. The tea? No, it's not tea, baby. It's Coke.
And that Coke is tea.
Oh, okay.
To the tea.
Alright, so I put a couple washcloths in there and soaked them in the Coke to see if that'll help, just by having the Coke touching some of the parts of the pan that's not the direct bowl part. So we'll let this sit for a couple hours. It's just 6 o'clock now, so honestly I'll probably check back on it at around 10 or so, 9 or 10. So we'll see y'all then. Alright, so it is almost 10 o'clock now. I'm ready for bed, so I'm going to try to scrub this down as best as I could. We don't have any of those metal scrubby pads. I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a whole bunch of little metal strips all twisted together. We don't have one of those. So I want to say I heard somewhere just go ahead and ball up some aluminum foil and give that a try. And if I didn't, maybe it's just an idea from my head. but I think I heard it somewhere. So we're going to give that a try. We're going to just ball up some aluminum foil. And get to scrubbing away. Alright, so I did take off the washcloths because when I poured the Coke in and I had them sitting on top, what was happening was they were sucking up the Coke. The Coke was still doing its job, it looks like, but they were sucking up the Coke and distributing it outside of the thing, and it pretty much just looked like this with the things all over it. So then I kept having to squeegee the Coke back in there or pour it back in there, but it looks like it had done its job. So alright, y'all, morning. It has been a morning here. While turning on the news, I looked over and saw there was a bunch of spider webs all over one of my palm plants. So then I got to look at inspecting it closer, and there's a bunch of little white spiders all over it. So I was like, they're all going to spread all over the house, and blah, blah, blah. So then I looked it up on Google, and they're not exactly spiders. They're little spider mites that can happen on your indoor houseplants sometimes. So then I had to kind of look up how to combat these things. And I've done the best I could. Hopefully I got rid of all of them. But I was wondering, it was either yesterday or the day before, why a couple of the leaves on my palm plant was dying. I was thinking I had it in the sun, too long, but it's been fine in the past, But so it's been a morning trying to deal with that, and now it's time to deal with this rusted cast iron skillet. So Emmanuel's book that he had said to let it soak in the Coke for a couple hours. So then we did that. And then y'all watched it. I scrubbed it down. I didn't have any type of a steel scrubby, so I just balled up some aluminum foil, and it seemed to work. But anyway, so Emmanuel's book said to do it for a couple hours, and then I scrubbed it. Y'all watched me do that, and then off camera he had said he saw on Google or something that people had success soaking it overnight in the Coke. So we dumped out the rest of the Coke and used the Coke we had already used, and we've let it soak overnight. So now I am going to check it out. I mean, honestly, maybe because it's wet, but let's go ahead and make another ball of aluminum foil and see if we can't scrub it down real good. Oh man, that's pretty cool. Ooh, that's a funky smell, metal on metal. Ooh, funky smell. Alright, so I am actually pretty happy with how this thing turned out. The rust is gone. I mean, there's still spots where, it's a light coating, but I've scrubbed and that's not coming off. So I'm not sure what else I can do just to get that very tiny little bit of rust off. But I'm going to go ahead and call this pretty good. Some of the areas did scrub down to the actual cast iron, like the metal cast iron. So I'm gonna go ahead and start recuring this today. But I'm pretty happy. This was a piece that I think Emmanuel said my dad gave to him. The only reason he remembers is because it says Bayou Classic. And it was a piece I guess my dad had that he never used, that he gave Emmanuel probably a couple years ago. But so yeah. Alright, y'all, so we have cleaned this thing as best as I can. I've stripped a lot of it in the cooking part down to the silver metal. And no, it's not little bits of the silver from the tin foil, because I kind of pulled all those out. It's down to the actual metal, the part that's not black. So I need to get this cured and seasoned, or whatever you call it, so that doesn't start rusting really bad again. Right now I've got the oven preheating to 350 degrees. It says here in this book from the library that you want to put your cast iron piece in the oven at 350 degrees until it is almost too hot to handle, because that opens up the pores of the cast iron. And then you pull it out, and using paper towel, you do a very thin layer of either olive oil, vegetable oil, or some sort of, what do they call it? Solid vegetable shortening, like Crisco. We've just got like the off brand of Crisco, so it'll work just fine. Once you do a very thin layer, and I'm mostly just worried about, the front side. This was very much rusted. The back side really wasn't, I'm sorry about that. The back side really wasn't that bad. I will focus a little bit on the sides here, but the bottom wasn't bad. So anyway, back to what I was saying. You use your paper towel. You do a very thin layer of whatever medium you're using to cure or season your cast iron, and then you pop it back in the oven for an hour. You turn off the oven and you let it naturally cool down until you're able to handle it. You bring it back out. You use a dry, clean cloth and wipe off any of the excess oil or whatever. And then preheat your oven again. Get it back to 350. While that's doing that, you do another thin layer using paper towel of whatever medium you're using. And then put it back in the oven at 350 for an hour. After an hour, you turn it back off again. You let it cool back down. And, do the process a couple more times. Being that I have pretty much stripped this down to the metal, there was a lot of rust on this one. Pretty much I've stripped it down to the metal. I am going to probably do this 4 or 5 times until I'm happy. And I know as you also cook with it after you initially season it, it'll just keep kind of re-seasoning with each cooking session. So we are gonna get this going. My oven's 350, and I'm gonna do my best to do this properly. No! How come y'all didn't remind me I'm supposed to put this in there without the oil first, just to open up the pores? Confliggers! Don't make that mistake. Poopsicles. See, I get distracted and I skip steps. Not good, not good. Alright, so I'll pop this in there and hopefully the pores will still open properly. Man, I hate that I'm so bird-brained sometimes. Alright. Let us try this again. Like I said, I hate that sometimes I just totally forget about steps until I've already done something stupid. I was supposed to let that go in to open up pores. So hopefully pores are still open. I'm sure they are. Honestly, it's not a life or death thing, but now it's too hot for me to touch. morning, y'all. So it's the next morning, but yesterday it was the day that I spent seasoning this many times. I lost count about 6, but I was doing very light coatings of seasoning because I didn't want to get chunky or tacky, sticky, glunky, whatever. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. And the more we cook it, that'll also season it. So this piece is good. I'm very happy with this piece. Let me show y'all if I can get y'all to see. So no more rust on that piece. So like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. And I might do some more seasonings because like I said, they were very thin seasonings. I did not want them to get clunky right there or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with this one. Now this one, we stuck in the Coke last night, but we used this Always Save cola soda. We stuck in it last night, and I scrubbed it off a little bit this morning. But I think it still can sit for a bit, and we're going to be gone all day. I don't know where. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and Emmanuel says that we got to go in a couple minutes. But he's taking me out for my birthday today. So while we're out and about, I'm going to have this still sitting in that off-brand Coke, and hopefully that'll help the rust more, and hopefully I can get an actual like steel wool scrubby or whatever they're called instead of just using aluminum foil. So like I said, if this off-brand cola, if I'm not happy with it, we'll just use the real Coke like we did for that piece. But slowly and surely we will be getting all of our cast iron pieces unrusted and re-seasoned and looking beautiful. So alright y'all, so it's a couple days later. I've soaked a lot of our cast iron in Coca-Cola. Our local grocery store had a sale on the 2-liter Coca-Cola bottles. So we got 6 of them, and we soaked a bunch of these pieces. Now some of these pieces, like the specialty cornbread pieces, I just can't get in each little kernel space, so we are going to be doing something today that we need to do anyway, because some of these pieces are really crusty on the outside. The inside is fine, but the pieces themselves are really crusty. Oh, this one here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's rusted, but it's like really crusty, and I've scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. And I thought it was due to maybe like a shoddy seasoning job in the past. But talking with my stepdad last night, he said, cast iron has pores, and I knew that. But what can happen over time is that all of your seasoning as you're cooking with it and stuff can seep into those pores and come out the back. So that's how he said, that's how you know this is a really old piece, is because all of the seasoning over time, over years, has seeped out the back. So he said what to do was put like some really good layers of Crisco on any piece like this, and then set it over the fire, and that Crisco is going to catch on fire, and this is all going to burn off. And I've heard that before. I thought it was for rust though. And I was like, well, why do that when we can use the Coke? The Coke seemed really easy. But now it makes sense to just kind of burn all this off to a crisp, or burn all this to a crisp and have it burn off. So Emmanuel's got the fire going now. He's putting one of our grates over it really low so we can Crisco these babies up and then just lay them down on the grate and they'll catch fire, hopefully. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we're going to do with the rest of these pieces. But also a little note, the first piece we had done is actually in the stove. It's beautiful. We used actual Coca-Cola with that piece. The second piece we had done, I think, was this piece here. We used the Always Save Coca-Cola soda. From our experience comparing the two, the cheaper brand did not work as well. We had more success with the actual Coca-Cola brand. So that's what we're going to use with these other pieces. But like, here's another one. I couldn't scrub all this off, so we're going to put some Crisco on there and we're going to set it on fire. So just wanted to jump in real quick with that little tidbit that I just recently learned, and kind of update y'all on the comparison, because we just found that the Coca-Cola brand Coke worked way better than the cheap store brand. So that is just in case anyone else is trying to figure out how to reclaim their cast iron and stuff. So anyway. Alright, so let's see if I can kind of carry these out with one hand. Ah. Poopsicles. Here we go. Alright. Sorry for all the movement, y'all. Alright, so we're gonna see if this works. I trust my stepdad, so Arlo, back. No, don't let go away. Please don't let this catch fire while I'm over here messing with it. Alright, so it looked like it was catching fire for a moment. We'll check back in a little bit. Alright, so we changed up plans. We took out the grate, and now we've just got them, whew, that's hot. Now we just got them sitting in the, goodness gracious, and have them sitting on the fire, but we're slightly scared that it's going to be too hot for them. Ooh, that's hot. So I'm going to flip them over and let them cook for just a couple more minutes. And then we'll probably pull them out, just because I don't want to ruin them. I don't know if you can. I know you're supposed to have them just sitting on the coals, but we have them right on the fire. So we'll see. Yeah. I'm having some issues here. That one doesn't need to be flipped over though. But here, turn the back to me so I can see what it looks like. Put it in the fire to where this is more in the fire.
Mama, you got this.
Alright, scoot that one up into the fire more if you can.
Mama, I got this.
Nope, I want you to get away from the fire.
I like it, Mama.
Yeah.
That's my for it. It's it for him.
Let me see that one, baby.
But I need.
Done.
I need.
how hot that is. It's burning.
I'm sure they're all kind of burning indents. It'll be alright. We just can't splash water on them or anything.
No, I know that.
Golly willikers, look at the smoke on that thing. I'm wondering if we should just put them on the ground for a minute before we catch that beam on fire. Yeah, I'd flip it over. Hopefully that burned off all of the rust and stuff on them little kernel cobs or whatever. Flip that one over so I can see it. Yeah, I'm thinking with some good scrubbing and Coke maybe. And if not, we can do it again. That one around the sides were gunky. But then, here, flip it over. It has this liner going around the inside, like to catch grease or whatever. That had gunky too, and that looks like that was burned off. So, yeah, we'll let them cool. And then tonight or tomorrow, I'll take them back inside, scrub them, see if they need more attention in the fire. We can do it again tomorrow. But I think 1 or 2 processes will be good. So that first little cast iron piece I did at the beginning of the video was my way of learning how to do this before I do a bunch of pieces. But this particular day I had 7 pieces in the oven at one time with each seasoning. So it was a very smoky day in my house. Alright, so I've done about 4 seasonings on each of these cast irons, with the exception of this one. This one was that Bayou Classic I was working on, I think it was last week, honestly. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I was putting all in the oven at the same time, and I've done 4 seasonings on each of these, but I stopped when I burnt my hand. Y'all can see the pink right there, where my fingers are touching. I burnt my hand and had to put some heel ointment on it. But everything turned out good, except this one here. It's not sticky per se, but it's tacky. I don't know how to describe it, but you can see where it gets really shiny is where there's like clumps of oil, and I wiped it all down after each seasoning, wiping off all the excess oil, but that still happened. So I've got the oven preheated, and we're going to stick it back in here upside down to see if we can melt some of this stuff off. Ooh, don't touch the hot. You've already burned yourself. So I'm going to see if I can't melt some of that excess oil globbage off of there. But I think these are pretty much done for now. The rest of the seasoning will happen whenever we go to cook on them. But I'll let y'all know when I pull this one out if it worked or not. Alright, y'all, so putting that skillet in the oven upside down didn't really fix that issue with the oil. But like I said before, it is just fine. I'm still totally happy with how every single piece turned out. So thank y'all for joining me as I learn new ways to reclaim our cast iron pieces. And not just new ways, but as I just in general learn how to reclaim our cast iron pieces. But I pray that y'all have a great day, and we will see y'all in the next one. Bye.